Our first guest tonight is an Emmy-nominated actor and comedian you know from shows like Community and The Soup. He's the host of Card Sharks, which returns June 16th on ABC, and Crime Scene Kitchen, which airs Wednesday nights on Fox. Please welcome back to the show our friend Joel McHale, everybody.
Yeah!
The entrance.
Thank you!
Oh, no. No, Joel.
Yeah.
Joel, we're trying. Oh, man. You gotta.
Oh,
no.
Oh.
This is.
How you doing?
We're trying. Joel, we're trying not to reward him with attention.
What are you talking about? You mean the greatest human on the planet, Scollins?
Now, Joel.
I knew that he wore a tank top, and I'm like, ugh, now they're going to see my Scollins tattoo that I got at a Patriot game.
Now, I will say you wear a very similar tank top to Scollins. The arm area is where there's a giant difference.
You mean like the hole in the shirt's bigger?
No.
For him?
I mean like from the shoulder part of the body to the fingertips.
I'm not sure. I see.
Yeah.
I see. He's hairless. Or he's very hairy. He's like a...
It's more like, I would say like you have giant strong arms and he has like noodle arms.
Now, how many of your staff are showing up to meetings in like tank tops and half shirts and like just mesh tops?
I would say, I'm doing a quick mental count. It was Scollins once and then never again. He took, the heat he took, I think, he immediately went home and threw all his tank tops in the garbage. And then the garbage man came and threw him back into his apartment.
Oh, you know, Seth, I don't want to bring this up, but I went to a burger place and I had half of this kind of double cheeseburger. And then like an hour later, I Scollins all over the place. I mean, I Scollins that toilet. I felt so much better after I Scollins.
It happens. Sometimes then you can just go on with the rest of your day. Like you don't want a Scollins, but otherwise. Yeah.
And then I had this thing on my finger, and I was like, I went to the doctor, and they Scollinsed it, and it just oozed all over the place. But once they Scollinsed it, it felt much better.
The good news for Scollins, I feel like he can screen grab just a visual of this without any of the audio, and it'll feel like a really good day for him.
Yeah, it would be called Worst Biker Show Ever. The woman who did that, I had the makeup lady, and she drew this on. She's like, why are you doing this? And I was like, I don't really know anymore, but I'm committed to it and I'm doing it. And now my kids, they're going to love it. This is permanent, by the way. This is not going away.
Good.
Oh, and there you go. Thank you for your signature rug.
Hey,
we went crazy with the Sharpie over here, Seth.
You mentioned your kids are 13 and 16, and you mentioned that they'll be so happy about this. But how do kids at that age actually engage with your work? Are they fans of what you're doing? Because that's a tough age, 13 and 16, as far as maybe being a little jaded.
Oh, I'm not raising them. The butler. No, yeah, it's, the pandemic's been great, and it's a great way to learn. And I told them to just play video games because they might get a job doing that. But no, we've watched a ton of television, and of course, I'm a narcissist, so I was like, watch Daddy's show, and so they'll watch Community, and then they'll be like, hey, Dad, that was a really good episode, except for your acting. And so they've turned in. They were like, Dad, you totally Scollins that scene, and I was like, oh, that bad? Yeah, you know how sarcastic I am, and so they're exactly, like my dad even said when they were born, they were like, "You're in for it," and everything. When I say to my 13-year-old, I'm like, "I love you," he goes, "Okay." Great.
I want to ask about Crime Scene Kitchen. This is not a crime show. This is a cooking show. But a very novel approach to cooking shows.
Yeah, it's where you take Legos and you have 4 hours to build, and then the voice of Batman comes out and tells you how you're doing. It doesn't work. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything really gets baked.
Right.
All right, I just promoted Lego Masters. You're welcome, Will Arnett. No, it's okay. So everyone likes a baking show. I know you do. I can see the Pandemic 20 you put on, and so except this one has like a mystery element where teams go into a kitchen where something has been made, remnants, like a little bit of cocoa powder, some fondant or something, and they have to recreate what they think it is while somebody bleeds out in the kitchen.
Oh, so they have to choose whether they provide medical care or if they try to win the prize.
The stakes have never been higher. So then they have a few hours to bake this thing, and then we have to eat them all to the tune of like 10,000 calories in 2 hours. And then then we reveal what it was, and then who's ever closest moves on to the next round. And then they get, after that, whoever wins gets the 12:30 time slot on NBC.
This is the first time hearing of this. And it's a Fox show. They're letting Fox do it.
I don't know how that came. I feel terrible.
You are an MC extraordinaire. You do a lot of stuff for good causes. You did one for a zoo recently, and this is your co-host. Is this a California condor? Is that the bird you're there with?
No, it's from the Andes, which is an insult to the California ones. I'm pissed. No, so that is a real California condor, and the condor's name is Hope. And that means I hope it wouldn't kill me with its terrifyingly huge human-sized talons.
It is genuinely terrifying. I would not feel comfortable that close to a bird like that.
Oh, they kept saying it was going well because when it looked at me, it didn't lunge. So I was like, great. And it's the look in its eyes looked like a dinosaur, and then it smells like vomit. Which is also what somebody on my chest smells like all the time, as we know. Scollins, what kind of a weekend did you have? And so it smells like vomit because these things, it's like a vulture. It eats dead meat. It's eating carrion. So it's very intimidating. Again, much like Scollins, it'll eat anything it sees. I'm sorry. I can't. This poor guy, I don't know what I'm going to do the next time if I'm ever allowed back on the show. I need another writer to go after.
Here's what'll happen. If he comes at you, you'll beat him to a pulp. So, I mean, like... Hey, you also hosted the iHeart Music Awards, and this is...
I didn't host it. I didn't. I just was presenting.
You presented, but I feel like you had a moment there that I think, like, a gentleman of our age, it's going to happen more often, like where it's just a harrowing reality of how much older we are than who is making culture these days.
I couldn't agree more. Because all I'm making is Scollins in.
So explain the photo to us. And
so I was about to go present, and that of course is her, who is an Oscar winner for Black Messiah, the best original song. And I walk up and I look like a grandfather, and she's like, hey, she's super nice, and she was like, hey, you're responsible for my career. And I was like, good joke, relevant musician in our time. And she goes, no. When I was 10, I went on Maury, and because she was in a big fight with her boyfriend, and and she apparently played piano and sang beautifully. And then Maury goes, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And she was like, a dentist. And so then this is when I was hosting The Soup back in the 1960s. And we showed that clip and came out to me, and I was like, hey, little girl, stick with the singing and the piano playing. You'll probably make a terrible day. Just do that. And then some music manager saw that episode and had a meeting, and it worked. And so I asked her for 25% of her earnings, and we are right now in a pretty uncomfortable legal fight. So she's lovely. So yeah, I'm obviously not responsible for anything other than continuously going to Maury for some of America's finest clips.
Joel, this is over, and I'm already looking forward to the next time you're here. It is always truly a delight for everyone here but one person. And
who's that? who's that, Seth?
Thanks for being here, buddy. Crime Scene
Thank
Kitchen airs Wednesday nights on Fox.